Hello, welcome to the third vlog in this series, the UK spouse visa application. So I just ended the previous vlog right now, and you're wondering why I am dressed up. It's because I am just from my biometric appointment. So when I got my English test certificate and my marriage certificate, I already had all the other documents. I had prepared my proof of relationship, accommodation, and all that. So when I got them, I went straight into the application. I filled the form, made the payment, attached my docs, and booked an appointment for today, the 26th of July. Yeah, it's Tuesday at 9:30 a.m. So it's now, I think it's around 1 or 2, because my appointment was at 9:30, and then I met some people there who are also applying for their visas, who had just gone for their biometric appointment, and I don't know, I just wanted to create friends, to make friends, you never know. So we went, had a cup of coffee, just chatted a bit about how the application has been for us, because they were applying for different types of visas and mine was also different, so we had a lot to talk about. But anyway, so I just got back home from a biometric appointment, and the location I went to for my biometric appointment is TLS Contact, which is the visa application center for Kenyans, and they have 2 offices, one in Mombasa and one in Nairobi. So since I'm in Nairobi, I went to the one in Nairobi. It's at Westlands. So yeah, the biometric appointment is very easy because you just go there to get your fingerprints captured and to take a picture, and then I think they compile your application or something like that, and they send it to where the decision is being made. So it's not a very complicated process. Yeah, so I think now I am finally done with the application itself and the waiting begins. But as I wait, I want to do more videos about the documents that are needed, how the application is, the online application, and other details of the application like cost, and how the process is in general. And I thought, why don't I do some sort of an introduction in this video? So let's start from the beginning. You have to think before you even start looking into applying for a spouse visa. You have to ask yourself 3 questions. 1, do you have a spouse? So you need to have a partner. That is 1. You need to be in a genuine relationship. Okay, that is also 1. And 2, because it's a spouse visa, this spouse visa means you are actually married or in a civil partnership. So if you are not married, if you're just engaged or you're just dating, then this is not the visa for you. So for the spouse visa, you need to be a partner to that person, their spouse, their husband or wife, right? Number 3, you need to make sure that you and your spouse have actually met in person. This is a mandatory requirement for the spouse visa. So you need to have met in person, and I have met my husband in person. So please don't go saying you got married online or stuff like that, because meeting physically is a mandatory requirement. Now, after you have answered yes to all those 3 questions, then you can go ahead and make your visa application. But you have to take into consideration, or rather make sure you have all the information you need in terms of the documents needed, the money to pay for the visa, because let me tell you, it's not cheap. It's not cheap at all, and putting together those documents, it's also a lot of work. So I started in mid-June. I finished my application today, which is 26th July. So you see, it's taken me quite some time, like 6 weeks. Also, what was delaying my application was the certified copy of my marriage certificate. Getting everything else was quite easy. Like there's some documents, my proof of relationship, those documents, I already had them. The English test got out in like 7 days. The TB test was a 1-day thing. So you see, the only thing that delayed my application actually was my marriage certificate. But you need some time to collect all the docs you need. But first, you need to know what you need and how the application is, so that you can just be prepared. Don't start the application without knowledge, because you might find yourself making mistakes, and that is what I am doing in this video. The documents that I prepared for my application before I even went into filling the online application itself is I went to the UK government website and read the information that they have given out about the UK spouse visa. And then I also googled some migration websites, companies. I think their websites, I think for solicitors and solicitor companies and all that, there's information in there in terms of what you need, where you can get the information. Like the information about financial evidence is in the Appendix 2 form, which I read. So I looked for information. I wanted to make sure that I am fully informed. So after doing my research, I found out that I need a couple of documents. So that is financial evidence. So your spouse has to show evidence that he or she can actually... Oh Lord. So we'll be having general elections next month. So there's just a lot of people campaigning and a lot of noise. So I had to pause the video a bit. Anyway, what was I saying? So there's the financial evidence where your spouse shows evidence that he or she can support you financially when you get to the UK, because your spouse, I'm assuming, is your sponsor. Obviously, your spouse is going to be your sponsor for this UK spouse visa. You also need accommodation evidence to show that there's space for you to live, like where you will live when you get to the UK. I am assuming you'll also live with the spouse, so he or she has to show evidence that they have a place for you to live and there's enough space for you to live, because there's the Overcrowding Act in the UK which you cannot go against. There's also proof of relationship. This is where you give a lot of evidence to show that this is actually a genuine and subsisting relationship, like it's a relationship that you've maintained it or something like that. I don't know how to define subsisting, but I'm sure if you Google it, you will get the reason. I just understand it, I can't define it, but you need evidence to show that the relationship is genuine, you've been in communication, you have met and all that. And let me tell you, the marriage certificate is just part of it. It is not enough, at least in my experience. I feel like the financial requirement and the relationship requirement, rather the relationship proof, is very important, and it's a big factor. It plays a big role in you getting the spouse visa. So there's the financial evidence, there's accommodation evidence, there's proof of relationship. Then there are other mandatory requirements like a photocopy of your spouse visa and your passport. So you need to have a passport before you start this process. So there were other requirements like the English test and the TB test if you require it. For Kenyans, it's required, but it's not a requirement for some countries. So I will be doing videos touching on each evidence, like the accommodation evidence, we'll talk about it, financial evidence, we'll talk about it, and the proof of relationship, I will touch on it. But please kindly note that I am not a solicitor, I am not a visa officer or anything. I'm just sharing my experience. So whatever information I give is not a guarantee that you'll actually get your visa or your visa will be approved. So I'm just sharing my experience, my knowledge, and the information that I have and the one that I have used to make my application. I'm hoping the information I share in these videos will help you when you are applying for your visa, but I am not guaranteeing anything. I am just a citizen who made the application. So see you in my next video where we start talking about the documents.